Hey, it's Jeff. As a salesperson, you've got to figure out who your ideal client is. I remember when I first started out in insurance, I had an underwriter tell me that he had a great program for engineers and architects. And I said, well, that's great. Let me go out and start calling on those people. So I did. I said, my ideal client's going to be an engineer or an architect. Well, my first engineer client that I found was nice enough. He and I got along fine, and I answered his questions fairly well. And he said, well, I want to look at the policy. And I said, okay, I'll get a sample policy for you. Went back to my office. I called the underwriter. I said, can you send me a sample policy? I sent it back to the engineer. He went through it. He had spent a lot of time when he came into the office a couple days later and gone through and found some words that were misspelled in the policy. He'd also found some grammatical errors which were in the policy, and then he proceeded to cross out certain words or change certain wording in the policy itself. Now, in insurance, that's not going to happen. They come up with a policy that's approved by the state, and you're not going to find that they can change it even if they wanted to. So I explained that to him, and he proceeded to tell me that, well, he couldn't really sign for a document that was going to be wrong. And I said, well, that's kind of where we're at. I sent the notes and everything back to the underwriter, and I said, here's this guy's problem. He said, let me talk to him. So a few days later, we set up a joint call. The underwriter talked to him. He explained to him exactly what I had told him, really in no different words, but he explained that he couldn't change it, and there was no way to change it. So finally, after a few more questions, the engineer agreed to sign for the policy and bought his insurance from me. You have to realize sometimes when you have a certain type of customer, they're going to do certain things. And I found out that working with that type of customer, that was a pretty common thing. They wanted to change things. They wanted to design it their own way. So when you're choosing your customer, make sure that you can deal with it. I figured out over the long term, that wasn't my ideal customer, because spending that much time selling something that didn't pay that much was not really making a lot of sense for me. Find your ideal customer. It's really important to define them and then meet with a few of them and make sure that your ideal client truly is ideal. I'm your sales coach. Have a great one.